Hi, everybody. I have another book haul for you today between library books and recent purchases that I've made. So this book haul is actually going to be split up into two parts. If I tried to talk about everything in one video, it would be too long. So what I'm going to do is talk about Black history reads and romance reads in the first part of the video, and in the second part of the video, I will talk about more general reads. So the first book on my romance TBR is Eligible. This is a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice by the same person who wrote Romantic Comedy. Romantic Comedy was one of my least favorite books last year because it wasn't romantic, it wasn't funny, and the second part of it was set during the pandemic, and that hit too close to home for me, so I gave it 2.75 stars. In Eligible, I am on chapter 17, and I am really enjoying it so far. The other modern retelling I have read of Pride and Prejudice is Bridget Jones's Diary by Helen Fielding, and I am hopefully going to be watching the movie soon, and I will be eventually doing a book-to-movie comparison. And for other book-to-movie comparisons, for our Gilmore Girls TBR, Kathleen and I will be doing for the next couple of months. For January, the book that we read that we're going to do a book-to-movie comparison on is Wild by Cheryl Strayed. In February, we're going to be comparing the William Shakespeare play Romeo and Juliet to the 1996 movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, the Gilmore Girls episode Runaway Little Boy, and the Wishbone episode. So Kathleen and I will be doing a joint video together, which will be on her YouTube channel at the end of the month. So stay tuned for that video. I will have her send me the link so I can post it on my community tab. The next book on my romance TBR is The Wake Up Call by Beth O'Leary. This is a reread. I read this book in 2023. So this is on the Gilmore Girls TBR because the hotel is very similar to the Independence Inn, and the main characters are very similar to Lorelai and Michelle. So when Olive reviewed this video on her channel last year or the year before that, she said that Beth O'Leary was inspired by Gilmore Girls when she wrote this, and I think that she's right. The next book on my romance TBR was also recommended to me by Olive at A Book Olive. So this is a book about a girl named Georgiana who is spending the summer with her aunt and uncle in the English countryside, and she meets a rich girl named Frances Campbell, who is a member of the upper elite, and basically it's kind of like Mean Girls meets Regency era, and I picked this book up for the Gilmore Girls TBR because it reminds me of the episode where Lorelai gets introduced to high society at the Cotillion Ball that is at the earlier part of season 2. The next book was recommended to me by Rachel Catherine. It's called Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. And this is a book that features the accidental pregnancy trope. And I heard it was really good. So I'm excited to read this one. Another book I'm reading, another buddy read I'm doing, that is a book that focuses on the accidental pregnancy trope that I am buddy reading with Anna. We're listening to the audiobook together, is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. And this book is great because it features great disability representation in the main characters, Wynn and Bo, who both have missing prosthetic limbs. And I can relate to Wynn, not because I have a prosthetic limb, but because when she talks about how she's going to have a baby, she mentions how she has trouble with, she has to like find pants that have button zippers instead of buttons because she has trouble with her hands. And because of my cerebral palsy and my dexterity issues, I have the similar issues to her with that. I really like this book, and I will be reviewing it with Anna and talking about it in a later video. The next two books are in the Brown Sisters series by Talia Hibbert. The first book is called Take a Hint, Get a Life, Chloe Brown. And the next book is called Take a Hint, Danny Brown. And the thing that I like about this series is that it features great disability representation. In the first book, we have a character who is chronically ill. And in the second book, acknowledgements. And the main character in this book has anxiety, so I can't wait to see how this author handles disabilities. Several booktubers that I follow have reviewed this series, so I'm very excited to read it. These books can also fit into my Black History Month TBR, which I'm going to talk about next. For my current Black History Month read, I am reading American Sirens, which is a book about the EMS system in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this was another recommendation from Olive from one of her nonfiction videos from last year. And so far, I am on page 30. So not very far into this one yet. I just started on Thursday. The next book on my Black History Month TBR is a reread. It's The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I bought this a couple of years ago after seeing the musical at Main State Music Theater with Cooper and Matt, and I really thought this story is very powerful and emotional, and I don't really cry a lot when I go to musicals, but this moved me so much that I was almost crying by the end. The next book that I'm going to be reading for Black History Month is Hidden Figures by Margot Lee Shetterly. And this is the book that inspired the movie that came out in 2012, which we were going to watch tonight, but we can't seem to find it on Disney Plus, which is a disappointment. We will have to see if the library has it. So I'm excited to read this book and compare it to the film. So thank you for tuning in. Please give me a few minutes while I reset for part 2 of this video. Thank you.